another episode of Save the Track Bike. On today's episode, I have Shawn and James DuBois. They're brothers. Shawn runs Switchyard Crit out of Dallas, Texas. James rides for Throne Cycles. And yeah, we cover a lot of things, from how they got into fixed gear bikes, how they got into cycling, all that kind of stuff. We cover a lot of ground, and it's really cool. So let's get into it.
Yeah. Obviously you guys know me, Shawn DuBois, from the interview podcast from the Sprint series. I represent Switchyard Fix. I'm also ambassador of Ellen Bagworks and RR Threads.
Yeah, I'm James DuBois. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I'm the more handsome brother. And yeah, so anyhow, I race for Throne Cycles out of Los Angeles.
He likes long walks on the beach, starry nights. I think black coffee. You drink black coffee?
That's right.
Hey, all right. I'm drinking some black coffee right now, so we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Same here.
So I want to hear.
I don't drink coffee, man.
Oh man, come on!
Advantage over me.
The communist.
So I kind of want to hear, how did you guys get into cycling?
I was traveling, just traveling the country, chasing another dream, another sport, another career, and as that career turns into a business, things got just a little more difficult, and not really difficult on my behalf, but just as a business aspect, and it became less fun. A lot of dirty stuff took place and whatnot. Anyhow, I was taking a break from that, and I had a friend that and I had a bike because I was using it not to really even do group rides or anything, just to do like 8 to 10 miles training to take some wear and tear off my knees from running and stuff like that. Anyhow, a friend of mine asked me to do like a triathlon with him, and I was just like, yeah, sure, man. I wasn't going to train or anything. I just yeah, sure, I'll show up and do it. And I did surprisingly really well. And I was like, man, we give this another try, but let me put some effort into it. And then I just started winning those. That's why I started doing bigger ones, and because those were like some small sprint style ones, and started doing bigger ones, and was still having pretty good success. But then while I was out riding, one day I ran into some guys that were riding off road. We got to talking, and so they told me I should come try a crit race. I was like, yeah, cool, I'll show up. So I did, and then I was like, I never wanted to do a triathlon ever again. I just started doing crits, road bike crits, and then I started doing road races, whatnot, and having a blast, man. Just carefree. Didn't really care too much about my results or whatnot. I was just having tons of fun, showing up and racing, and just having a lot of fun. And anyhow, I was doing a little side job. I would get off work at 9 a.m, and I picked up this food delivery on the bike, like messaging, but I had a little trailer behind my bike, and I would go to restaurants, pick up food, take it to people's residence or work. And I was doing that for about 4 or 5 hours after I'd get off work in the morning. And during that time, I noticed that everybody, mostly through downtown, the messengers and whatnot, were riding 60 bikes, and I was just riding my race bike. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna save up some money and get a 60. So I found one fairly cheap off of Craigslist, and although it was fixed when I got it, I wouldn't have put a free wheel on it and a brake, and I was riding like that. And because I wasn't, I hadn't even done anything fixed before. So I was riding like that, doing deliveries. I had a trailer as well, so the weight of the trailer didn't stop me and whatnot. But so during that time, some of the guys I ran into, basically invited me to a local fixed gear crit that we have here in San Antonio called the San Antonio Midnight Crit, and it's on the last Sunday of every month at midnight. And so I was like, yeah, I'll let me find a day I can make it, and I'll come. And so the day I decided to go, I switched the rear wheel around to the fixed and went ahead and raced, and also did pretty well. And that was probably the most fun I had on that bike. And so the next race I did was like a week or two away. That was the local midnight race. And then the next fixed gear race I did was the Wolfpack Hustle in Austin.
Nice.
When they had it. Yeah. And so I still was like, know nothing about gearing. I just showed up with what I had. I didn't really have anything nice. I just had a beater, and I want to say I was on like something crazy, like 49.15 for that race, and it was way too. I was spinning way out of my mind, but I was able to again do pretty well. I moved up from I think I started like 48 on the grid. Like they qualify your times and then they place you and whatnot. And, I think I started like 48th, and I was able to move up to 15th by the finish. And so yeah, that's basically how I got into it. There's obviously more to the story to this point, but that was how I got into it. And I just have a little bit more. I mean, I love racing my road bike too, and I'm still gonna do that. But the fixed gear scene, I'm just having a blast, having lots of fun doing it. So
that's awesome. So Shawn, we didn't get into that when you were on last time, but how did you get into cycling? Was it seeing your brother doing that stuff, or?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of completely different, really. I was kind of the same thing. I was in something that I really was it was growing bitter on me. I really didn't have a lot of control. Like, I know we talked about me doing music earlier on, so like I was like MCing and stuff, and I just really wasn't happy with the way it was going and kind of how it was turning out. And so I was looking for other stuff to kind of do, and I hadn't done any athletics in probably like 8 or 9 years, other than like some small triathlons that James would bring me to, and like I would go out there and not train at all, and it would just be miserable on me, and so I wasn't not for the triathlons whatsoever. And anyway, I actually moved to Denver. I think it was 2015. And I was just there doing a little bit of like side work for about 4 to 6 months, I think it was. And I didn't take my car or anything. I just flew. So I needed like transportation. So I knew that James at that point, he was already, I think, did you have a fixed gear already at that point? Did you have that Fuji?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So
No.
You didn't have the Fuji?
Nah, but I had a bike, yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, he was like, yeah, check out some fixed gear bikes. They're kind of cool. And so I was looking, I think I was looking at, I think you sent me like some Throne links, check out some of the Throne frames and Leader. I think you sent me some others, but I finally decided on like the Leader 721 and had that built up there in Denver. And started riding around, man. I was like on like pedals and straps, and I think, I did the same thing. I stayed on a free wheel for a little bit, had a front brake on, so I kind of got used to riding a little bit. And then it was one weekend he came in while I was still there in Denver. Him and his wife came in to see me, and we were just messing around, and we changed the fix. And then after that, I never went back. So it started from there. And I think once I moved back to Texas, I went out to San Antonio and did that San Antonio Midnight Crit, and yeah, I was hooked from there. I was like, I don't want to ride anything else.
What are your race plans looking like for this coming season?
Yes, some of the details aren't ironed out just yet, but besides everything local that I'll make it to, I am going out to the Mission Crit in April. As of right now, we're not for sure if we'll make it to the Red Hook Crit. I'm not sure the reasoning, but I know we're we're definitely going. All of throwing is going to Mission Crit. Wolfpack is going to do some type of track racing. So there's some races I'll be going out to California for sure.
Shawn, what about you? What are your race plans looking like this summer?
I was just kind of trying to get a race schedule going a couple of days ago. Actually, yesterday I just did the JRD, which is Just Ride Dallas. He used to be involved in the Wolfgang Hustle stuff out in LA. I think he actually still is, but Sean Subney puts on he puts on Just Ride Dallas, and he does like these little drag races on the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, which is a big bridge going into downtown. And so it's normally typically it's 1,200 feet. It's almost like a quarter mile, and we do stop to start and like all the way down the line. But this year he kind of changed it up. He was trying to do like a full crit on the bridge, which I think some of the organizers were kind of worried. I think somebody got a Red Hook crit video or something and got scared, and so he was like, let's just try it out this year. So it was not really set up as brackets and podiums like he normally does, so it was kind of like a free-for-all, just everybody bring whatever and we'll race. So yeah, man, we had a lot of fun out there. It's really, really unique because he did a 600 feet and then a hairpin and then 600 feet back, so it was a fun day yesterday. I'm pretty tired, but
nice.
Yeah. So that was my first one that I really needed to make it to. And then I think I'm going to get some San Antonio crits. I got my crit coming up. I might race one of those. It kind of depends. I know kind of people look down on it, but whatever. And then I think I'm going to try to make it to Portland, so like the Bone Machine crit out in September. I think Team Throne's going out there, right? Are you guys going out there?
That's the plan for right now, so far.
Yeah.
I think that's still kind of in the works too. So
yeah, once they announce that date, I'm
planning on.
I 100% want to go to that. So as soon as they announce the date, I'm planning on going out there for sure.
That's just we have to hook up out there, man.
Yeah, man.
We went to it on the first one they had, and it was super cool, man. And Portland's just a cool place, but the race was pretty intense, and it was a good time out there.
Nice. So James, I want to hear a little. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. If I was just gonna say I'm probably gonna try to make it out to if they do that the Circuit of the Americas series like we were talking about, probably there. MSU, I think some guys out in MSU out in like Wichita Falls, I believe it is, or Wichita, Kansas. I may be mistaken. They're doing a crit right before, I think, right after mine in April. So Ryan Racky out there, he's hosting that. So I'm going to try to bring a bunch of guys out there and do that one. And then I'm going to try to make it out to a SoCal series as well. So
that's awesome.
Anyway, finish up. But sorry to stall you on your next question. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good.
You talk too damn much.
So James, I just wanted to hear a little bit about the story of how the Throne team happened for you and what it's like to ride for them, because they just seem like a really cool company.
Oh, for sure, man. They're super great guys, and I don't know if you know Hansel, but he runs the team, and we've had some changes in the squad the last couple of years, but it's a bunch of SoCal guys, and everybody's super cool. So it's not there's no animosity between the guys that left and the guys that came on or nothing like that. Everyone was just chill. But anyhow, into how I came to start riding with them. After I did that Wolfpack Austin race, I talked to some of the guys there, like Ronnie Toth and just some of the guys that were already riding for teams out in California. And I was like, hey man, I'm interested. I just told my feelings out there that hey, I'd like to get on a team and help get me to some of these races that I'm not able to get to and whatnot. And basically, Ronnie for one was like, hey man, I don't have any way to help you, but just keep talking to people, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I was like, yeah, for sure. So I just, I contacted a few teams to see if they had any room on the roster and whatnot. Several teams, a handful, maybe 3 or 4. And some got, most of them got back to me and was either like, hey, we could do this, we could do that, or it was basically like, hey, man, sorry, try me next season. Our squad is full right now. And so everything was real respectful. As far as thrown, so the guy that originated the San Antonio Midnight Crit here in San Antonio, his name's Jason Casanova. He left just shortly after that to move to California. And so, I know Jason just from the races here. That's how I met him. He hosted those races, and he went out to California and he started working for Throne. And he contacted me. He said, "Hey, man, just basically, hey, what's your thoughts about?" And I was like, "No, hell yeah." I was like, let me talk to him. And so he threw my name in the hat over there. Hansel gave me a call, and we talked for a while. We talked several times actually, just about goals and plans and what we're trying to get from a relationship with each other, and as far as Throne and myself. And anyhow, everything worked out, and it just worked out. It was just the right timing, I guess. They had room, and they also have a pretty good market here in San Antonio. We have a big Throne dealer in Bottom Bracket Social Club, and Bottom Bracket Social Club Bike Shop. They had a social club and a bike shop, so somehow I throw it together. But so then he was like, yeah, adding a rider in a place where we're developing our market is critical. And so added me on, and everything just, it's been great. And so that from next season, and there's been times I've talked to other people have approached me with other options or whatever, but I just I just stay with the guys that so far everything's been great. So everybody's cool, and they take care of me. Even though we go to races and we're not winning like Red Hook or some of the we show out and we get decent results, but the main thing is we just have a great time, and we're just out there in the scene and just riding pretty much. So
yeah, and you guys have some of the coolest skin suits on the Peloton.
Oh yeah. Well, Hansel, he does the designing of everything, and he's great at that too, man. If you don't know, I'm sure you do, but if anybody don't, go follow Lean Customs, Instagram and on Facebook.
Those dudes, man. When you own a Throne, it's kind of like you belong to the family at that point. Like, I've met them several times and been able to hang out with them at the Red Bull last stand, and like they just treat you like family, and super cool to hang with. Those guys are super cool, man. So I highly recommend if anybody's looking at a Throne bike and kind of on the cusp of buying one, it's definitely worth it. So.
Yeah, and while we're on that kind of subject, I want to hear, what are both of your bike setups?
They're probably almost identical, right? Well, no, I guess you got better stuff than me right now. I'm riding the 2017 Track Lord, not the team edition. It's a purple pearlescent edition. It was like a limited run on the color. And then I normally race with Conquer Elite S300s. And then I have a Conquer Elite crankset, and I think like some FSA bars, which I'm going to throw some Ritchie bars on there I just got. And that's it. Not anything fancy, man. I just get out there and try to hammer.
And once again, I'm James, the more handsome brother. I also have a tractor. It's a team edition. The seventh that we collabed with the seventh letter. We have a pretty cool head badge, but we have I have all Ritchie Logic components. That was one of our sponsors with the team. And as far as the stem and bars, saddle, those are all Ritchie. The crank set is a Conquer Elite RXL crank set. And the wheels, I ride on the Conquer Elite wheels as well. We have there's something be coming out in the works. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but that was 2017 stuff. So 2018, we kind of get our stuff later towards end of April, May. New stuff that comes out with drone, and so we have some things in work. But and then we ride with laser helmets. So we got those laser bullets for this season. I ride mostly Victoria. That's just my preference.
For sure, I love those tires.
Yeah, I use the Rubino Pros to train on, and then like the Corsas to race on the tires.
Yeah, so you're not getting flats every 10 miles or so.
Exactly.
No offense, Victoria, but your tires are the fastest.
Yeah.
Not the most puncture resistant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I train on thick slicks.
Especially those Corsas,
Even though I think they ride like crap. I hate the way the thick slicks ride, but I never get flats, so that's my goal.
Yeah, I rode those slicks on the 721 around Denver forever. Man, y'all have those big thorns falling out of those trees. I didn't know. Have thorns on the sidewalks. I get flats all the time.
Yeah, man.
We're coming through an alleyway, man. I catch flats.
Yeah, for sure. When I'm training, it's like thick slicks with sealants, especially this time of year. In the summer, I don't run the sealant, but in the winter, I always do because those thorns are everywhere because nobody's riding their bikes or.
Yeah. I guess they're falling off trees coming into spring or whatever. And it's just, I remember those things were not my friend. And I was just learning about bikes too, so I could barely change my tune.
Dude, I feel you.
Oh, man.
I remember the first bike I got in Denver. I finally had to learn how to fix a flat pretty quickly because I got 4 flats in 1 week. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I got sick of going to the bike shop, and I was like, this was 11 years ago. And I was like, super funny.
It's like time to learn. Yeah. It forces you to learn, man. Yeah.
I mean, I got into cycling pretty late in life, and picked it up, quick. But I still feel like there's a lot of things I'm still learning. Every race we go to, man, I'm always learning something. But it's one of those things that you're talking about. You couldn't change your tire, and you're going to bike shops to do it. So there's a progression, obviously. But it's like that progression never ends. You're always learning something as it continues on.
Oh, for sure. So can I ask what age you started racing at?
I was, 32.
That's cool because last year was my first race as far as crits go, and I was 31, and now I'm 32, and this will be my first full season of trying to race. So sometimes I feel like, oh man, I'm too old to be doing this, and then hearing other people, man, gets me stoked.
There's definitely, I don't necessarily fixed gear per se, but just cycling in general is one of those sports I feel like you can really carry on into later in life. It's not football or baseball or fighting or anything of that nature. So age does matter, man. These young guys coming, they're monsters. But and at the end of the day, we're both on a bike and we put our pants on the same way. So it's never concerned me my age at all. But I am probably one of the older guys in the scene as far as it's competitively racing. But it's doesn't bother me any.
Well, I was just listening to Fast Talk on the Velo News podcast, and they were just talking about how, which was really encouraging, but they were just saying that the main reason why people that are when they get older are less fit up until their 50s or something like that is because of life. Like, it has nothing to do with, like, it's just that they're training less most of the time. And there's a lot of studies that are proving this, that if you're training and you're getting out riding and you're making time for it and stuff, that, like, you should be able to, like, keep up your, like, VO2 max and, like, all that stuff up until, I think they were saying, like, they don't see a sharp decline until, like, your late 60s or early 70s.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah. That was a podcast. I think I read an article, something similar to that, and yeah, it was kind of the same thing. And I think that's like these young guys, you know, they're maybe in college, and so they go to class and then ride for, you know, 6 hours a day, or they might be on a college team or something like that, and they have time to put in the miles. So yeah, you know, that's one thing that James has always encouraged me on. Is like, dude, just, you know, like we talked before, just get out there and do it and put in the work, and you'll see the performance results from that, you know, just so.
Yeah, see, I'm digging this because a lot of the people I have on this podcast are like, I'm 22, I'm 24, you know, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, you know, well, obviously with age comes a little bit different responsibilities, especially if you have a family and, you know, you got a mortgage and you got things that now it's real life. It's not just having fun. I mean, I was that dude too. And I don't know if you know, but I spent my whole life boxing, and Shawn did quite a bit too from a young age all the way up. And I continued on into adulthood, and I turned professional, and I had a, you know, good 6 or 7 years as a professional fighter. And so I always maintained my fitness from, you know, since I can remember, man, probably since 10 years old. And it's just something that if I wasn't doing this bike racing and riding all the time, I would be doing something else. I don't know what it would be, but it would be something else fitness related. So, it's kind of just been instilled in us since we were young, just fitness, and whether it's working out, whatever the case may be, running, all of it. And so this creates a whole nother level of fun, whether it's a competition, the people that we get to meet and hang out with, and everything all together. It just makes it a great time.
Yeah, so what about fixed gear bikes attracted you to that being your medium now?
Man, you know, I don't really have a way to put it in words, and I mean, I'll try to think of it, but I don't. It's just there's a little extra level of fun, and again, I don't have any words for it.
Yeah.
You know, I race my road bike, and I have a lot of fun too. But I guess maybe it's just the extra level of maybe danger or excitement. I'm not sure. I don't have words, but
no, dude, I feel you.
I'm terrible right now, but yeah.
There's just something about being on the bike that I think that it's a completely different feeling, and it's also just like, yeah, it just adds an extra level of, like, I don't know, it sounds like bullshit every time people say it, but like connection, I guess, or something, where you're like, you're just moving the whole time, and you're just like, I don't know, you feel the kick, you know, of the pedals. There's just something weird. Yeah. Like, I can't put a finger on it.
Yeah, and again, just like you said, it's like a moth to a flame. Once I did my first, you know, fixed gear crit, and like I said, I hadn't even ridden the bike fixed. I just switched it over that day, went to the race, and I was like, kept telling myself, don't stop pedaling. And, you know, because you forget to pedal, you get chunked. But, yeah, and then I had a freaking blast. It was like, I just want to do more. And of course, even across the country, there's still not as many as there are road bike crits and whatnot. But it's growing, obviously, but it's still not the same. So, you know, I still do the road bike races, and
for sure,
you know, have a ton of fun. And even this past summer, I ventured into a couple of cross races, and man, that was a lot of fun too. I didn't even expect it to be as much fun as it was, but it was really hard, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like those just kind of like fast, punchy races where you're like sprinting out of corners and all that kind of stuff. It just kind of like makes the time go by fast.
And I mean, you know, and it's especially too when I went to Red Hook last year, and man, I was like in tunnel vision for a while there when the race started. Like the crowd just banging on the sides and just yelling, everyone, banging those cowbells around.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, this is nuts. But it was so much fun.
What attracted you, Shawn, to that kind of to fixed gear bikes specifically, and like you said, when we talked last time, you said you have an events background, and you could put that to so many things. Like, why fixed gear racing?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was definitely like a kickstart in Denver, just because I didn't have a ride anywhere. So anywhere I wanted to go, I had to ride, the 721. And so I was riding around, and then as my legs kind of got in shape a little bit more, and I still wasn't full on like committed to racing at that point, even in Denver. And then, I did the San Antonio Midnight Crit, and at that time, I don't know if they're doing it this year or not, but they had an A and B group, and so I raced in the B group, obviously, because I wasn't going to be able to keep up with the A guys.
Yeah.
At that point. And then, so I raced the B group, and I got third and crashed over the finish line and broke my collarbone.
Damn.
And I just got tangled up with somebody and crashed. And I remember I was an idiot too. I was yelling and stuff. And James is a firefighter, and his wife is an RN. And so I was on the ground, and they come running over. It's kind of like I see their face. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm not worry about anything now. And I'm like, hey, did I get third? And like, yeah, you got third. I'm like, is my bike cool? He's like, your bike's straight. I'm like, all right, cool. And then so later on, we go to the hospital and stuff. But after that was probably my first kind of itch, where it was like, man, that was awesome. I'm ready, and then I had to kind of like wait 6 weeks to heal up before I could do anything else. So that was definitely like a defining moment for me deciding that I did, I wanted to approach racing seriously. So yeah, from there. But I was gonna say, man, you seen Avatar, right? It's super cheesy, but you seen Avatar, right? Like, not the movie's cheesy, but you're a movie buff.
Yeah.
So I always think when I'm like getting, it's so dumb, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I always think when I'm getting on my bike and like I take off, it feels like when they get on I forget what those creatures are called, but when they ride those like big flying horses and they like attach in, they attach in, and like you're one with the animal. That's kind of how I feel when I get on the fixed gear bike. I'm like, all right, I'm one now. I'm complete with this bike, and I'm the engine, I'm the brakes. So it's kind of the same thing as everybody, man. Just the danger factor. And I've always been attracted to racing, period. Just like any kind of racing I've always liked. And I think like, I really, really like motorcycle racing. I used to watch MotoGP and like what's that crazy race they do, Isle of Man.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. And so like I've always, like I said, I've always liked racing, but I don't think I'd have the money to like build up a motorcycle or anything like that, or that stuff is super, super expensive. So fixed gear is kind of a way to live out that secret fantasy, and and just do whatever. So yeah. The event organizing side, I come from like live production, just doing like corporate concerts and stuff. I'm like an audio and lighting specialist, and I was, like I said, I know we talked about it before, putting on like your own shows and stuff. At one point we weren't getting booked for like my rapping and stuff, and I started doing my own shows. So it was just a way to, but it was just a way to kind of like book yourself and get into the scene and stuff. And so I kind of took that approach with the fixed gear crits. So there wasn't a monthly here. There was barely. I think 2 people were putting on like 1 race a year here in Dallas. And so I just kind of saw a lack there of, races and competitions for us guys that wanted to race out here in Dallas. So it was fairly easy, just coming from the AV background. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was kind of super inspired for you guys and stuff, because when I was talking to James from Mission Crit, he was just talking about like literally 3 years ago or 4 years ago or something like that. I don't remember. They were literally just having a race in a parking lot, And then now they're having a huge race where like Specialized Rocket Espresso's coming, Colin Strickland, like all of the state team, Throne's going to be out there. You know, like all the teams are like Mission
awesome.
Crit's like the start of the season. So, you know, like,
and that was just 3 years ago that they were in a parking lot.
I don't remember if it was. It hasn't been super long. I don't remember exactly how long it's been.
That's
but
cool. I think, 3 years, 3 to 4 years it takes to build, a solid foundation for an event. As you know, we're in our second year now. And, I think we kind of touched on it earlier that I go a lot on impulse, and I think James can vouch for that, but he knows that when I'm kind of, stretching a little too much, it's like, all right, tone it back a little bit and focus on, the foundation lane. So that's our focus this year. Like we talked about earlier, it's just making sure that there's good races and there's good entertainment for the spectators, and everybody's having a good time. And, there's a good amount of people showing up every month to race. And then, hopefully we build on that from last year. And then going into our third year, we can really make some strides to be a bigger race for Texas, across Texas, and even across the nation. So,
hell yeah,
we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Hey James, I want to hear some of your kind of race highlights. What were some of your favorite races that you've done, or any stories from those that you want to share?
Dang. Last year, I went out to the first SoCal race, and so I flew out there and I landed, and then Ansel picked me up about, I think it was like 6:15, 6:30 from the airport. We rushed back to his house, threw my bike together, then we took off and ran and rode downtown. There was they were going to have a downtown race. I can't remember who puts it on. I don't want to throw out a name because I can't remember. But it's the downtown crit, fixed gear crit, and I think they had a road category too. But anyhow, so I go out there and I was like, yeah, man, cool, I'll race. And so we go out there, and man, that was by far the sketchiest race I've ever been in. You're flying down this backside this hill into 4 lanes of just flowing traffic, and then you turn right into another 2 lanes of flowing traffic and go back up a hill. I mean, the coming down part, man, I was just like, oh man, I was trying not to die, and we're just flying down right into traffic. People are hitting their horn, wah, wah, and throwing the finger up, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? And so anyways, I started getting a little bit more comfortable. I'd find my groove coming down, and anyhow, I ended up running out of gear on the sprint. I think I got like 4th. And but then the next day we did the SoCal race, which was much more chill. Like there was no cars trying to pick us out, and I'm always like on the edge as far as races. I usually just get there just in time to throw my leg over the bike and get on the course. And I'm trying to be more conscious of that to get there and have a nice warm up and do everything proper. But sometimes living on a whim, it just works out for me. And man, obviously the Red Hook Crit was just insane. And I made a mistake and going into the final race. I changed my gearing because there was tons of winds that picked up, and I was thinking, man, if I'm into that headwind, I'm going to be getting killed. So I changed my gearing going into the final. I qualified in my group. I qualified at 10th in my qualifying, and then going into the final, man, I changed my gearing and I regretted it. I didn't have enough at all to even stay. And besides that, I don't think at the end of the day it probably wouldn't have mattered. There were so many crashes that kept happening in front of me that would just open up gaps and try to close them, and another gap would open up, and it was that race can get away from you really fast if you're not at the front. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season, man, to see what we have in store. And
for sure. What kind of tips do you guys have for people that want to get involved in racing, or specifically, like, what advice do you have for people that want to just like put on a race, like DIY style?
I'll handle that part of the question because the tips that I get all come from James. So
There you go.
anything racing or fitness wise, I reach to him for stuff. But yeah, for event organizers specifically, man, like it goes back to everything. Just start doing something. Even if it's making a flyer and just saying, hey, we're gonna show up at this time and ride, or we're gonna show up and race, and just do it. And I guarantee people will show up if you have, a good little portion of cyclists that or even if it's 5 or 10 people, just start it, and more people will kind of latch on as you go on. So. That's my big advice, just start it. And that's with anything, and James is the same way. He'll tell me all the time, like, dude, just go out, and just go out and do it. Even if it's 40 or 50 miles, just go do it and do what you can and do your best at all times. So, other than the logistics of just trying to figure everything out. And I had a little bit of learning curve, just coming from the events that I'm normally used to doing full on races, and just being that race organizer and really, the start of the races and stuff like that all took me a little bit of time to kind of get a process or a routine in where we're getting people in at this time and they're registering, and then you have people running late and stuff. So I would definitely say get a good support system up, definitely like a good set of friends that are willing to help you on other aspects of the race, especially with corners. If you're not sanctioned and you're on the live street, you want to have that safety for the riders and put people on the corners. Be prepared for things like, even if it's the cops showing up. We've had the cops out there several times, and one of the times they were just watching, and then the second time I saw them out there and I wanted to talk to them, and they super cool, and they were like, oh, you're the guys doing the bike racing, right? And we're like, well, it's more like bike training. We really didn't want to say it was a race, but they knew what was going on. So they were like, yeah, cool, super cool. And, let us know if y'all need anything. But they were over there actually directing traffic coming out of the convention center. One side of the track, there's a tunnel that goes through our convention center. So there's normally a lot of traffic coming through that intersection. So they were just kind of manning that, which, didn't have anything to do with us, but just because they were there, and I was able to approach them on it, they were like, yeah, it's super cool because, we run through that stop sign, a 4-way stop sign every time we race. So, it was cool to see them excited about it. And like I said, just try to be mindful of all of that, everything that you have going on. You have the streets, especially if you're not sanctioned, you have open streets, and safety is our first priority in the crit every month. Safety is our first priority. So, and then entertainment comes next, and just making sure that the race is exciting for people. So I think we do a preem lap, the first 10 minutes. So once we hit the 10-minute mark, we'll do a preem lap, and that'll either be, if there's a breakaway already at that point, we'll have the chase group, race for the preem lap to try to catch the front. So, things like that, just to keep the race exciting, are always good. And then just don't be afraid to reach out to people, man. Ask if you need anything. If you want anything, you have to ask. And I've learned that. And most of the time, anybody I've asked, like I said, with like Ellen Bagworks, Ellen Studios, Dallas Spikeworks, I didn't know any of those people before I started the crit, and our threads even, I commented on an Instagram post on them. It was like just playing around, like, sponsor me. And they reached back and was like, oh, hit us up. We can talk about stuff. So, just those little, extroverted moments that I have, and like reaching out to people and asking for things, you'll be surprised how much response you get back. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. James, tips on people wanting to get involved in racing and how to grow in the sport.
First of all, don't talk like my brother. Don't take up all hour to answer one. No, I'm just joking.
You talk for like 20 minutes.
Spend all your time talking. You ain't got no time to ride.
Yeah, whatever.
the cool thing about fixed gear, one of the cool things about fixed gear racing, I think everybody points it out, is the fact that obviously the cost of your bike it's not a lot. It's, you can, unless you're on the track, obviously the track bike doesn't cost a lot, but as far as a track bike for fixed gear racing, you can get into it relatively inexpensive, and anybody can participate. And that's what draws a lot of people to it, is the cost, obviously. And then just entering the races, you're talking about $5 to $10 for most of the races, because there are no organization fees, there's no insurance, and just stuff like that. So that draws younger guys, I would say younger guys and girls, towards it. They don't have a lot of money to spend on expensive bikes, and then didn't have the money to spend on races, and so that's one of the advantages of this style of racing. And so pretty much anybody can participate, and so that's super cool, and that's what a lot of people come out. But as far as tips on getting into the racing, my thing would just be to ride as much as you can, even if it's a lot of times, man. I go several weeks where the only riding I get to do is to and from work. I mean, it's like 24 miles, but I ride to and from work, and so that's sometimes the only riding I get to do. But I'm still getting something in, and if I don't, then I'll get up before work and get on the rollers or whatever the case may be. I still try to get something in. So really just ride, and then the other aspect is just race as much as you can, especially if you're just learning. Race. Any races you can get into, doesn't matter if you're going to get blown away or if you're going to ride away, just race them. And next thing you know, man, you'll be there after competing with the top guys. But that's, as far as any real tips, man, just ride and race as much as you can. That would be my pointers there. I'm pretty much race on my balls, man. I don't do a whole lot of training. I don't have power meters. I have a heart rate monitor, but I don't get all into the data of it. I just ride my bike and hit it hard and try to recover and so on and so on. So that's it for me, man. That's about all I got.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about a company like Throne too, as far as like fixed gear racing comes, is like they're making like quality bikes, that kids can get into a track lord, and ride, but like the team is riding basically for like $600, and then over time they can like add whatever parts they want and stuff, but like the initial cost of getting in is pretty low. Is there anything else, James, that you wanted to touch on before we head out?
No, man. Just thanks for asking me to come on the podcast, man. Good talking with you, and I look forward to getting out and seeing all the guys out in the fixed gear world and SoCal and Portland and everywhere else, and just look for us, man. Doing cycles, and you find me at Quick Draw DuBois. By the way, that doesn't come from my Instagram name. Doesn't come from cycling and related at all. But a lot of people seem to think that. But anyhow, So that's it, man.
Cool, Shawn. You got any things you want to say before we head out?
Dallas Brakeless coming on the scene, and then Switchyard Fix, of course. I'll have some merch out and stuff, and probably be giving away some merch and at the races. Other than that, I just want to thank everybody, like all my sponsors and everybody that's just been, fully receiving of what I've been trying to do in Dallas. And so obviously Dallas Bike Works, Ellen Bag Works, Ellen Studios, and RR Threads. And then, of course, look out for Dallas Brakeless. And the Money Mash crew, I think we'll be switching that over, actually, to official Dallas Brakeless hosted event. So that's it, man.
Cool. Thank you both so much for being here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Save the Track Bike. I appreciate all the support. Please go to iTunes or wherever you're listening. Leave us a 5-star review. Follow us on Instagram at Save the Track Bike. Go to SaveTheTrackBike.com. Thank you so much to FixGearCrit.com. And thank you all for listening every week. It's been really rad. I have some merch coming out soon. keep a lookout for that. The music is from Vitamin Pets. It's called Slag Girl. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna go ride my bike.